for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. The number to call if you're up and around and you're out and about and you want to give us a shout is area code 267-687-0026. That number again, area code 267-687-0026. Before I introduce my co-host today, I'd just like to say to the people, we do our best to keep the conversations and the debate within a certain time frame. But y'all know, like I know, when the conversation is good, you just got to let it go. With that being said, joining me on the show today is none other than my cat from the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park, Brother Rich. What's happening?
Man, I'm always honored and humbled, as always, to be on the platform with you, esteemed colleague from up the way. And, tell Mr. Jones we're always happy that he lets you, be part of the platform and represent the Cowboys and the franchise and institution as proudly as you do.
Yeah, I don't know about all that last part, but here, I got you. Yeah, I don't know nothing about the Cowboys. I don't have Jerry's number, but you do. And on the other side of the ledger, we got my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
Brother Rich's MJ, I'm Scottie.
Oh, wow. And who am I, Detlef Shrimp? I mean, really? This is how you choose to come into the program today? Come on, man. It's the 28th of April, man. 465 days of quarantine. And this is how you come on the show? Got you. Anywho, I'm not bothered by you or you. We're going to start things off, of course, with none other than the 2020 NFL Draft. Are you all happy that the draft is now over? Are you satisfied? Did your team do what you thought they would do, Brother
Dog
Rich?
pound.
The dog pound? Double J, you happy?
Dog pound.
You happy? I know, Brother Rich. I know you're a dog pound
Yeah.
fan. Yeah? Okay, got you. Yeah. And we're definitely going to address the Cleveland Browns for sure. Definitely in this conversation today. But I'll start things off by asking both of you. Double J, we'll start with you. This is the first time that the NFL Draft has been held, quote unquote, from a virtual standpoint. Are you cool with the virtual draft, or would you prefer the in-person?
I believe there's advantages to both. We've seen a side from the fans' perspective that we traditionally don't get to see, an experience even for those involved from the management side, having to be a little bit more human, if you will, similar to those of us that are working from home at the moment. But for the players, unfortunately, this is their moment, no different than the seniors of this year that don't have that opportunity to walk across that stage. That's really who I would still prefer to see, when this is permitted to go back to what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, I actually, was cool with it. It went rather quickly, actually. You know what I mean? But I'm with you, too. That whole walking across the stage. And that, we had talked about on the show, last week or whatever it is, about something similar in that, players playing games without fans. I think that walking across the stage is all a part of the picture, and to not have that, even though it was still good, I think, to not have that, that it took a little bit of its luster, if you would. But I'm with you on that. Brother Rich, what about you? Do you like the virtual versus the...
No, I definitely agree with both of you all, because I think that's definitely an element of it that was missing this time. And that is that there's a human element of those young men, their names are called, you see the team, you see the interaction, the phone call comes, the instant they know they're finally drafted, the dreams have come true, their families, the interaction between them and their immediate spouse, mother in particular, mom and dad, siblings, and then you see the walk, and then they're finally welcome into the NFL. There was and is something to that. This time we could follow it digitally, like I did. I didn't have to even watch it because it on Twitter, and it was the same thing. It's a digital draft, and it was just like that. So there was somewhat of an impersonal nature to it, and the whole drama and the presentation that went along with that. That certainly, I think that if they're going to have the draft, I think that all of us would prefer for it to be the way it has been over these years because of all the moving parts that are missing when it's like this.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You said impersonal. I was going to actually say that, personal versus impersonal, so to speak. I think that's the big difference. But anyway, it was still pretty good, though. I liked it. You know what I mean? I did. I really did like it.
No doubt.
Okay, Double J, we come back to you on this one. How realistic are draft day grades? Because so much is made of what a team did on draft day, who a team drafted, and automatically right after it's all said and done, everybody's giving A pluses and A minuses and so on and so forth. And I'll tell you why I'm asking this particular question after you give your answer.
Well, I'm going to throw in the RB effect. That's simply what draft day grades are. It's incorporating RB and team needs. So it is purely speculation on paper in past. Did the team address, fill the gaps that they needed, just simply by putting a body into place? No different than if you're, McDonald's and you need a cashier. Well, guess what? Once that role's filled, regardless if it's the right person, there's a body in place.
Got you.
So that, again, does not really speak in depth. Additionally, now we're going off the RB kind of philosophy, which is if they're bigger, faster, stronger, it implies that they should be better.
Got you. And it doesn't mean that they won't be what you suggest or imply that they'll be, but it doesn't mean, or there's no guarantee. So I'm asking you too, Brother Rich, you know what I mean? And I ask you from this perspective. You've done hiring and firing and so on and so forth. So is the guy who shows up basically with just his resume, is that the end all be all to convincing you? Or you say, okay, I like your resume, that'll get you in the door, but I need to put you on the floor. You see what I'm saying? To see more, so to speak.
I mean, absolutely not. I think that the resume argument is like we talked about a couple of issues ago on the show, where you use the example that we all saw on the playground. You go to the playground. There's this guy who's there. He got on all this hot gear, all the Nike stuff. He got on the fresh Jordan. He got on this. He got on that. But and when you see him with the basketball in his hand, he got two left feet. We ain't picking him on our side.
Yeah.
So I mean, your resume could be every one of these things could be a lie. I want to know, can you even do the job you telling me about?
Exactly.
So yeah, absolutely not. That's definitely not good enough.
Exactly.
That's absolutely not.
Exactly.
That's an analytical appointment, And
Exactly.
So you know what I think of analytics.
Yes. And again, they do have a place. But, one slice of pie don't make up a whole pie.
Right.
You need all the other 7 if you done sliced it into 8. You get what I'm saying? So that's just one element. That's all I keep trying to express, to people. You can't take one element and make it a whole. It's just impossible. How do you do that? And the reason why I asked that question is because Double J, and you know this, you more in depth with the numbers and so on and so forth. Not to say that you're not, of course, Brother Rich, but a draft day grade. And the reason why I use the word or term realistic versus actually seeing that player that you drafted maybe 2 or 3 years down the road. To me, that's when you can really more accurately grade who was drafted. Because Double J, just like I do, how many times have we, and over the years, regardless of the sport, has a player been drafted and then everybody wants to 5 years down the road go and revisit? Well, of course, if you 5 years later say, if we go back and do the draft, who would you take first? Well, then would you? The guy you gave an A when he was drafted, now you're giving him a C minus. So I say, should we not wait maybe until like 2 years? I mean, now don't get it wrong. There are exceptions to the rules. Some guys you just, they do. They, like when I say that with Josh, I can't even think his last. The guy we did this story on, Josh Jacobs, the running back for the Raiders. You just kind of knew he was just, he was going to be as good as advertised. So far, anyway, he has been with the Raiders. There's some guys that jump off the screen. But as a rule, I don't think that you can really grade a guy or grade a player until after he's been in the league a few years. You think, Double J?
Well, without a doubt, you look at so many different elements here. You know, for example, the quarterback position. Some have the luxury of being groomed and kind of allowing to mature and really understand their particular systems and offenses before they're, again, thrown right into the fire. In other circumstances, they're not. And same goes for just that system concept itself. We see this time and time again where just because you're trying to fit a square peg into a circle hole, and once you finally do find that right fit, and that sometimes can come years down the road, or simply just a change of scenery, now all of a sudden that full potential is revealed.
Yeah. On a side note, did you see Cliff Kingsbury's house? My goodness, I want one of those for my birthday.
Gold.
That dude's house was off the chain. It looked like an art museum. Dang, I didn't know they were Double J. We in the wrong line of work. You think? Jeez, my goodness, the guy's house was nice.
I tell you what, that the way that camera was placed was not coincidental.
Of course not. Exactly.
And for good reason.
Yeah, I say the same doggone thing. All right, Brother Rich, we'll come to you with this one. And, of course, Double J, you got to weigh in on this as well. And unfortunately, we won't have Gully on this because I'd really like to hear what he might say in regards to this. But I want you all to play GM for me. You're the GM in this draft, right? You're on the clock. Regardless of the player, the name, all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying in general. Would you draft a player, based on the need, best available, or scheme? Or is best available and scheme kind of one and the same, you think? Meaning what you need, who's the best regardless of position, or the type of offense or defense that you're running in terms of scheme? Brother Rich?
That's an easy answer for me because I go with need right away. And need because I don't care how good you are. If you're the best available and you a wide receiver and I got 3 of those,
Got you.
I'm not doing that.
Got you.
I don't care if you're the best wide receiver in the draft. I don't care if you're the best running back in the draft. If I'm happy with what we got on the depth chart, then I want to know, okay, what do we need here? And let's go with that because we're going to have other problems if I bring in the minute I draft what we don't need based on that, just on some height. Then we got other problems. I'm bringing in other problems for myself. So now I'm a needs guy.
Got you. That makes total sense. Double J, what about you? Need, best available, or scheme?
I'm going to dive right in. It's kind of a little bit of all the above, but it's circumstantial. I would say the early round, first and foremost, you're going after need. And simply put, you have, for the most part, you have the power of choice in round 1 and potentially even in the round 2, because simply a lack of picks. So in number of players available. Additionally, and I'll throw this out there, you generally see this as well because that's not particularly the case with quarterbacks. That's often why they go so quick, because if you need them and you understand that they're simply are few and far between in caliber, you have to go after it right away. But for other teams, that's simply not the philosophy. The quarterback's kind of the exception to the rule, but otherwise you go after what, as Brother Rich pointed out, your need. As the later rounds come into play, you're looking at either the best available or who fits the scheme.
Okay.
Because at that point, both of those, again, if you can get a freak athlete, I'm going to give an example during this year's draft, like a Lynn Bowden from Kentucky. The guy had 233 yards in the Belk Bowl versus Virginia Tech as a quarterback. And again, this is not he was Lamar Jackson-esque in that game, minus the arm. and he's not a quarterback by nature. He was thrown right into that position and excelled and was able to win a game. That's someone that you say, you know what, I'm rolling the dice on. Because if I can use him in there, imagine if I put him in the slot. Imagine if I run the pistol and then I have him, lining up in the back.
Got you.
You can manipulate and utilize that person's skill set to whatever type of game plan that you have.
Got you. And you know what? To Brother Richard's point, if you already got 3 or 4 guys at a certain position and you draft another guy to that position, you create what's called a log jam. We're all familiar with that term, I'm sure. So when you create a log jam, now you get these guys in the camp. You don't know if the guy you drafted or the other guys that that make up the log jam, you don't have enough. There's only so much time in camp to get ready for a season. Now, we don't know how it's going to play out, of course. This season, because this is what we're dealing with is unprecedented. But I'm saying ordinarily. So now you only got so much time. So how do you divvy up the right amount of time for each player to see what that player can do? Because you got to know who's going to be my starter, who's going to be the next guy up, and who's going to be the third guy, so on and so forth. Well, if I got 15 guys, I'm just throwing a number out. If I got 15 guys at one position, not everybody's going to get the right amount of time in order to prove to me who should be my starter, second guy, so on and so forth. So I'm with Brother Richard. That was an excellent point, because you create a log jam and you actually create more problems for yourself. And here's what happens. When you create that log jam, you're going to have to get rid of somebody. Somebody's going to get picked up by some other team. And what if the guy you got rid of was the guy that you should have kept, who goes on to be something for somebody else, right? So a good point, Brother Rich. A good point indeed. Okay, let's get to you all's Cleveland Browns. Yay! Y'all happy about that? No? Y'all not happy about the Browns? Yay! Yay!
You notice how he said that, Double J?
Yeah.
You all.
Yeah.
But on private text,
yeah.
Reminds us how he's been a Browns. His family loved the Browns longer than we were alive.
Yeah.
But now what he's telling the world, it's you all than the Browns.
Yeah, listen.
I'm proud. I'm a Brown dog fan. I'm proud.
Okay,
well, believe me, Brother Rich, Barbershop Kozar took his talent from Cleveland to Dallas a long time ago.
Double J, you have been waiting on that to use that since I knowed you. What a way. I thought that line had an expiration date. Apparently, you must have put it in the freezer, okay, the deep freezer, where you can put it back. Let me explain something to you all. And the reason why I say you all, because like the little boy who cried wolf, I'm one of the villagers. You ain't going to get me for the 4th and 5th time. You see what I'm saying? Y'all still new to this. So I'll let y'all have y'all's moment. But don't get it twisted, baby. I was at some of them playoff games. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Huh? When Felix Wright dumped Don Beebe on his cranium and caused him to fumble. You hear what I'm trying to tell you? I was at those games. Unfortunately, may they all rest in peace, at a Steelers game when a Steelers fan got killed. And again, I don't say that, lightly. I'm just saying, man, the Browns are forever etched. They here. But what I'm saying to you is, like any other investment, the whole idea at some point, you have to be cognizant of return on investment. ROI is what they call it in economics. Brother Rich, you was an economics major. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? So if the ROI ain't matching up with the investment, what you supposed to do, man? But nonetheless, we will get to your Cleveland Browns.
Well, the question is, are you a long or short-term investor? And we're long-term investors in this.
Okay, despite how much money you're losing, huh? Okay, I got you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, okay, got you. Brother Rich, are you satisfied based on this draft? Are you satisfied just from a draft perspective as a Browns fan?
Very,
okay.
very, very satisfied.
Mm-hmm. Double J, my man Matty Stafford, coming on the show next week. Okay, I'm just joking. But I will be calling to let him know that you jumped ship a long time ago. And I can't believe you're going to talk about me, how I am about the Browns, and yet still you turning on Matty Stafford. And you saw the post I put up, right? Who was it that mentioned Matt Stafford ain't had nothing to work with? Anyway, that's a story for another day. Are you satisfied as a temporary ID holder of as a Browns fan, Double J? Are you?
I am. I do believe they could have done slightly better. However, I don't have any pick rated below a B minus.
Oh, I'm sure. Of course not. That's called fandom. But here's why I asked that. There are certain things and certain elements about the Cleveland Browns that if you look throughout the Browns' history, at least as far back as I can remember when I started watching the Browns, I couldn't speak for the Jim Brown, Otto Graham, Paul Brown era. All I can go off is what my grandfather told me. And from what he told me, and when he taught me, he was disgusted from that era that he grew up in versus the era that I was growing up in, that he was still alive in at the time. He said he would just be downright disgusted. He couldn't believe it. The Browns have had and maybe the Lions too, Double J, I'm not sure. You might know this better than me, but the Browns have had a big problem, even in the Kozar years, of what I call player convertibles. They will draft a guy, and I'll give you two examples in more recent memory. They will draft a player at a position and then try to convert him to another position, and it has never worked. Regardless of who the regime changes, and there have been, 462,000 and counting for the Browns? Cameron Wembley, Barkevious Mingo. You draft a guy and try to convert him into something else because, the Browns have and I'm saying on the defensive side of the ball more so than anything, the Browns have went from a 4-3 to a 3-4. I mean, it's almost like duck, duck, goose. You know what I mean? A hokey pokey. Put your left foot in, put your right foot in, that kind of stuff. They do it so often. And it has never worked. And now, with their first pick at the 10th spot, they took my man Jedrick Wills from Alabama, who, by all accounts, is a right tackle. But let me read to you right quick, and I just jotted down a few brief notes from the Sporting News. Now, I don't know how viable of a source the Sporting News is for you all. It's not a source I use often, but it's every now and again they'll say something that, piques my interest, if you would. And I'll say this. Here's what they said, the Sporting News, on Jedrick Wills. Ranked 7th out of the top 100 college players coming into this draft, which is a good thing, because that I did not know. Wills is a strong, natural, and powerful run blocker with the athletic upside. That's a key word there, upside, okay? Because there's no guarantee there either. With the athletic upside to round into a smooth pass protector. In time, they say, he can start on the left side, but he could also be dominant from the get-go on the right side. So, Double J, you in particular, were there not any left tackles? Because here's the deal, and this is to Brother Richard's point and your point as well about coaching, right? Bill Callahan is the Browns' offensive line coach, a darn good one too, right? I'm talking about Russ Grimm-like. A lot of folks don't remember Russ Grimm. Excuse me. I do. Bill Callahan knows how to coach him up at that position. So there's some there with the Jedrick Wills. But explain to me, and it's not even just the Browns, any NFL franchise you probably can think of, because I'm sure the Browns are not the only team that have done this. Explain to me. You got a Mekhi Becton who already plays left tackle, and if you say that the coaching is that significant, why wouldn't you get a left tackle to be coached by Bill Callahan as opposed to go and get a guy who didn't play that side to be coached by Bill Callahan? And I say that because, man, I wish Herm was on the show today, but unfortunately he couldn't be with us. He got a few things, little extra things on his plate as well. But when we talked about Tony Jones and how Tony Jones, when he was with the Ravens, went to the Pro Bowl from having played both sides of that offensive line, played left tackle and right tackle. And not a lot of guys can do that. And don't get it twisted. There is a big adjustment to make. Now, will Jedrick make that adjustment? I'm not saying that he won't. But, Double J, you got to help me to understand, because I don't. In all my years of sportsology and ologism and all that other good stuff, I don't understand how you don't go get a guy who's already done it as opposed to a guy who hasn't, but now you got to show him how. Doesn't that increase what you have to teach? Help me out here, would you? Help me out.
It does. It puts a little bit of faith in confidence in your coaching staff. But if you listen to our answer, specifically mine a moment ago, on best available and need, in the order that they get, that they become apparent, is usually based on the position in depth. I'm going to tell you right now, this kid was the best by a landslide when it came to O-line, period. That's not my own personal opinion. That's from what I had seen, that's been co-signed by countless others that get paid a whole lot more than I do.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. The conversation leading up to the draft, he was not in any of them. I had to go and look up this guy. You see what I'm saying? Now, was that by design? And then, please don't mention Mel Kiper, because Mel Kiper is 5 for 925 when it comes to okay. I'd rather have Todd McShay if you ask me. But anyway, this guy was not in all of the pre-draft conversation. Why is that, in your opinion? Excuse me.
Well, first and foremost, for what you're to the point that you just made, he is not. This is not flashy. This is something that is fundamental to the success of a team. If you look at, those just north of you for quite some time with the Packers, they had one of the best offensive lines for Aaron Rodgers that he could have literally moonwalked and then decided who he was going to throw to because he had that kind of time. If you look at Cleveland last year, arguably that was really the complete opposite. Baker had to either have his mind made up before he even snapped the ball. Otherwise, he was going to end up throwing a pick or end up on his behind.
Well, that's true.
And so when you talk about moving this kid from right to left, again, it is a transition. It is probably the most important position on the line, arguably other than center.
And that's only if your quarterback is right-handed. If your quarterback is left-handed, then obviously the right tackle is the thing. Go ahead.
But this kid, his lower body strength and his ability, the pace that he moves is what makes him a fit where you can say, you know what, this is not asking too much of him to move him from one side to the other because he's quick enough to get that step. And again, that half second is all the difference. When it could be Joey Bosa or
no question. Yes.
Defensive end here. That is absolutely the difference here. So again, mechanically, and he pushes people off of the ball. So you're not talking about not only being able to get over in time, but you're talking about being able to hold them and possibly even move the line. So when you're talking about somebody like Chubb running the ball, now you're going to open up things for him. So all in all, I get your point that, hey, we could take somebody that this is all they know. But if you're talking about an A player and a B, that's something you talked about even yourself that they've missed on in the past, and this was the right move. Now, time will tell ultimately, but both on paper and on film, it indicates that this is not, you're not stretching too far out of the imagination that this can be not only something that can be done, but something that can be successful.
Okay, so then here's my next part of that then. Excuse me. With that being said, if the Browns are set up to, quote unquote, win now, right? Because on paper, with the additions that they have, that's what it looks like. That's my whole thing about dropping back and getting multiple picks and all of that. You don't need to do all of that. You got 5 or 6 in this particular draft, in addition to what you already got, especially now with the re-signing of Higgins for 1 year, Hollywood and all of that. You already set up. So if you set up to win now, Double J. And Brother Rich, if you want to have a say on this too, that's fine too. But I just want Double J to help me out here.
Oh, I'm definitely. I'm gonna defend my boys, but go ahead. I'm letting y'all rock. I got you.
Okay. If the Browns are set up to win now, who starts at left tackle if, as the Sporting News pointed out, in time, but not right now, of course, Wills could potentially be that guy to be on the left side?
If you're asking me, he starts day one. That's the whole point. As you pointed out with camp, that's the entire purpose of camp. This is where you were. We know we can put you there. But this is where we're going to find out. Can you do this? And that's where you trust the coaching staff. They're going to know, Jay. They're going to know very quickly. Is he a step behind? Is he getting it? Is he succeeding?
Yeah, because remember now, the Browns are the same team who drafted Austin Corbett, and come to find out he didn't have footwork to play none of the positions. That's why he was up out of here. And Austin Corbett.
Okay, but see, this is where I want to weigh in at. This is exactly what I want to weigh in.
Okay.
Because I knew you coming with that. The Browns are the same team. No, this is not the same Browns. Because as I was listening to you and Double J was making the points to you about what this young man is capable of, and you were reading and touting his talents as Sporting News highlighted them. Double J was pointing out his ability, his talent, and so here's where it comes into play. Told us pull the tape on this very same program last week, 2 weeks ago, when you touted the Browns' ability in this draft in particular, because it was a quote-unquote blind draft, and you talked about their staff and the fact that their front office personnel were poised to make some moves that were going to highlight their talent. I believe this is that kind of move that highlights the talent, that he saw the talent there. He saw this young man's ability on the line. He saw his ability to move him and shift him, and he could easily move over there and play that. Just as Double J is saying, that he could come to camp and it'll be an easy transition for him. He's young enough, quick enough, skilled enough, hungry enough that they could make that switch and make the line what it needs to be so it could perform as the team needs it to perform. I absolutely think that. So let's see what's happening, because at least this time people are not mocking the Browns. People are not wondering, well, what's going on with this? Oh, what's the direction? You saw why they're doing this and the pieces that they're putting into place. You saw that there's some direction there. So I for one, I applaud them, and I want to see what these picks turn into. And to talk about what you talk about draft day grades, that doesn't mean anything. We know that doesn't mean anything. That's why we want to see what this young man turns out to be on the professional grade, when he gets to camp and when he becomes a professional and he gets down there in the mud and makes that first snap on the ball.
Okay, that's all fair. But to be specific,
we go with the Browns hatred. Come on, spit this venom in about the Browns. Come on, hater. Go ahead.
Excuse me. What I said was,
get it out your throat. Get the hate out. Get the hate out your throat.
Are you going? I mean, I'll wait till you finish. Oh, by the way, I got a mixer coming to you on the way, Brother Rich. We're going to set you up with your own podcast. It's called Brown Central. You get what I'm trying to tell you? You and Double J after midnight, you know what I'm saying? You get all the folks in California up there. Y'all can stand around Kobe's statue and talk about what if the Cleveland had a guy like that. Anyway, I said.
Well,
oh, here we go.
Before, just to chime in here, you might be thanking us as to why we're at the draft next year based on where it's located.
It's because it's going to be in Cleveland next year. Whoopie-doo. I mean, Cleveland had an all-star game here before. That kind of stuff don't wow me no more, man. I'm 50, okay? That kind of stuff don't wow me no more, okay? At this point, I'm looking at my watch, I realize I got more time behind me than I do in front of me. It's just win, baby. Like Al Davis would say, just win, okay? All of this old, this prognostication and, and jubilation and celebrating 0-16 and all. I'll let y'all do all that. Y'all can have all that. Everything y'all doing right now, I've done it before. That's all I'm saying. But I said, being that Andrew Berry's, what would you call it, bread and butter is analytics, with the draft being basically virtual, lean more towards the analytical side of things, would that give them an advantage? That's what I said. I didn't say this guy would or that guy wouldn't, so on and so forth. So if you're going to quote me, please be precise, okay? Can we please get to the other things I'd like to mention about Brother Richard and Double J's Cleveland Browns? Wait till I talk to Matthew Stafford, Double J. You are going to be very, very upset because he will not support your business anymore. So we'll see. Okay, Brother Rich, Double J, y'all signed off on Jedrick Wills and all of that, And if you're a good run blocker and a pass blocker, well, he's already a good run blocker. Not going to take that from him. The issue, of course, I didn't even call it an issue. The thing to look for would be the pass blocking ability. You know what I mean? And then how the Browns go about, because, at times Baker likes to move around a lot. So can you hold your blocks, while you got a quarterback who likes to move around? Because I think that's important as well, too. Like when quarterbacks get to scrambling and so on and so forth, do you have offensive linemen who understand how to block for a guy who can, who does those types of things as well. But my question is this, too. Here's another thing I don't like about the Browns. Why no Buckeye players? Do you know that there have only been 6 Brown, and this is from my man Scottie Bell Pickus, Piccus. He dropped me this little tidbit. Shout out to my man Scottie B for looking out for me. You know what I'm saying? I can't get Brother Richard Double J to do that, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? They my co-host. It's all good. Only 6 Buckeyes have been drafted since 1977 by the Browns, with, of course, Denzel Ward being the most recent. I mean, you all the Browns fans, y'all want to explain that to me? And here's the real reason why I say that, the Browns have drafted more Michigan players than Buckeye players, but Buckeye players are better. Yeah, explain that to me. No, nobody can? I didn't think so. I didn't think so. It makes no sense to me. And here's the killer part. It ain't like it's the same guy that's been kept this going since 1977. No. The Browns have had more regime changes than a 6-month-old baby with diarrhea who need a diaper change. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Go Browns. Can I say that, Brother Rich? Can I say go Browns? No. Dog pound. Can I say that? Or I'm not allowed?
It doesn't have the same ring when you say it. You're really not allowed because it doesn't have the same ring. Just go for your Cowboys, man. We already know what it is. Claim them publicly.
I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Canes and Razorbacks through and through. Them the only folks that any allegiance of mine can be connected to in that regard. I'm talking about from way back in the day, baby. See what I'm saying? But the Browns, that goes without saying, man. If my grandfather was loving them despite all of the craziness, then I'm loving them because he loved them. Got me? Yeah. But again, no Buckeye players? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But we shall see. Brother Rich, Double J have signed off on this year's draft, and they say the Browns are, is anybody willing to jump out there with a prediction? Terms of win, loss, maybe?
No.
Oh, okay. So we just gonna wait.
Absolutely not. We don't even know when a camp will be. And let me take a stab at this question you asked about Buckeye players. Let me tell you what. Culturally, one of the reasons why teams like the Browns would not draft in-state players who went to college in-state is because typically that player is from the state, and if you draft them to their state team, you're going to have home field problems in terms of the family and the friends. And so typically you want to get a player that is from somewhere else so that the city and the environment is new to them, so they don't necessarily bring their whole crew and everybody got to come with them and bring all kind of other problems and distractions for young players. So that perhaps is one of the reasons why they don't draft players from right up the street in Columbus.
Okay. Oh, well, look at Brother Rich coming out of his pockets with some extra cash. Okay. I feel you.
No.
Not buying it. Not buying it. Double J, so would you like to make a win-loss prediction for next season or no? Are you backing off that too? Because we don't know when camp and all that stuff is. You know what I mean?
That's right. It is far too early.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Okay. Far too early. Yeah. Boy, you all come with the political spiels like nobody else I've ever seen. Who's running for office on this program today? I'd like to know so I can put my vote in. Vote for the Browns. Anywho, the number to call if you're up and around is out and about. If you want to give us a shout, it's area code 267-687-0026. That number again is area code 267-687-0026. Brother Rich, did you by any chance see ESPN's mention of the Clemson wide receiver Higgins and his mom's drug addiction? Is that fair?
I did not.
Oh, my. Double J,
I did. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter, but I did not see the actual thing. But I did. I know exactly what you're talking about. Of course, it's disgraceful. But they do this every year. The mainstream media does this every year to some athlete in the draft, be it the NBA, in particular the NFL, where they take the worst, most horrific elements of these young men's lives and just make a mockery of them. And this is because blood and gore and sex and degeneracy and lunacy sells. And so This is what we feed at the slop trough of in quote unquote major mainstream media. And that's why the president labels it fake news.
Yeah, right. Double J, your thoughts on that that was some debauchery, if that's a word to use in this case. Yeah, your thoughts.
Well, again, to me, it's nonsense. I could understand if something within that week had taken place, but I mean, they were digging in the Wayback Machine and any piece of information they could find, and most importantly, that my frustration lies with the fact that this has nothing to do with what that individual is capable of doing or has done on a football field.
That's what I said. 20 times over, because it was underneath the "Did you know" header. And here's the sad part. I'm sure you saw it, Double J, because you and I are both, of course, on Facebook or whatnot. All of the people who were defending what ESPN did. Well, maybe he's happy. Maybe he's cool with, because Higgins did come out after the fact and say, I'm cool. I'm glad my mother, is better now, and so on and so forth. What did you expect the young man to say? He just ecstatic over the fact of being drafted. His dream is playing itself out. You get what I mean? He not going. I didn't think he would say nothing off the wall, or nothing to really respond to that the way folks were expecting him to respond. So I'll say it for him. At the end of the day, my goodness, I'm talking to some of the people. That's why I say I'm getting out of some of these groups, man. The ignorance is just intolerable. You defending these folks for doing and saying what they said. I'm asking, knowing that bit of information, even if you were going to say that, why not say his mom is recovered or his mom is, doing? I don't even know. I'm not going to sit here and try to make nothing up, because it's a bunch of malarkey. Why? What part of that, knowing that did you know? Why did I have to know that? That made me so knowing that's gonna make me say, oh yeah, I'm really rooting for this guy, or I'm really rooting for that team. I'm rooting for him because I'm rooting for him. Period. If I'm gonna root for him, you know what I mean. That's not gonna sway me one way or another to root for him more or less or whatnot. Look, that made my life better knowing that how. That made me a better person knowing that how. Is what I kept asking people on Facebook. Man, Jay, you just being a hater because you this and that. I said, man, really? Y'all sound like the dude who said that the killer instinct, before 91, did nobody ever had a killer instinct in basketball. That's how that sounds to me. It was unnecessary to put that up there about that boy. But I'm going to add another one to you. Double J, you familiar with what radio host, I forget what show she's on, Monica Matthews, what she said about Jerry Jeudy?
I did not hear what you
said. Let me read this to you, buddy. And bear with me here. The article is kind of lengthy, but I'll get through it as best I can. So check this out. Monica Matthews, a talk radio host on Atlanta's 95.5 WSB-FM, took to Twitter to apologize for a tweet that connected former Alabama star wide receiver Jerry Jeudy to a gang. And we all know the Broncos selected Jeudy with the with the 15th pick in this, in the draft, in the 2020 draft, NFL draft. Jeudy was wearing a Star of David, a common piece, and I guess the focus was the necklace that he wore, and it was the Star of David, of course, a common piece worn by members of the Jewish community. However, The 2018 Bolitnikov recipient, of course, is not Jewish, as he explained during his media availability at the 2020 NFL Combine. He explained his friends have nicknamed him Jew, given the Jew in his last name. He made it clear he means no disrespect by wearing the symbol. This explanation did not reach everyone's ears prior to the draft, unfortunately. Matthews published a tweet connecting Judy to the Gangster Disciples, a gang founded in Chicago during the 1960s that commonly uses an altered Star of David as the logo. Her tweet. Then before I go any further, Brother Rich, I know a lot about Chicago, but I don't know. Do they use the I know who the Gangsters Disciples are, but do they?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that part is okay.
But keep going.
Okay. So now at this time, and this article was put together, of course, her tweet had since been deleted, but remained, and it still might be there. I didn't look for it because I got it here on the internet in the form of a screenshot. And there were a lot of people that responded to her, and they gave her the business, too. In the screen grab, TotalProSports.com is who got the screen grab. Her tweet offers 2 screenshots. And here's the problem, the issue I have, because unfortunately, we all know in this country, perception is a reality. You feel what I'm saying? Her tweet offers 2 screenshots. Right. One of Georgia gang investigator Ray Ham. He's a Georgia gang investigator. Let me repeat that now. One of them was of Georgia gang investigator Ray Ham's LinkedIn post, and the other of the Wikipedia info on the Gangster Disciples. She adds, wow, never ends, #criminal gangs, and decides to inform the NFL Twitter account by tagging them. Matthews was not done yet. She responds to a reply on the tweet that claims Judy sounds like a smart, compassionate, talented young man. So in other words, when she made the tweet, somebody was like, I don't know what you're tripping on. Judy sounds like a good dude to me. Excuse me. The Atlanta radio host responded to that, whoever tweeted that, attempting to inform the commenter that gangbangers, quote unquote, come in all sizes. And she said, this is her. Why is it so hard to believe gangbangers come in all sizes, including military, police, teachers? I'm going to leave it there. She quickly received messages and replies informing her of the incorrect assumption. That's another problem. You're making an ass out of yourself. Less than 24 hours after posting the original tweets, she published a video explaining why she believed his connection to the gang to be true. She claims to have consulted a trusted source in Ham, the Georgia gang investigator, right, and did no further research. Do I need to repeat that to drive home the point and why we do what we do the way we do what we do here? If I didn't say that too fast for y'all. Right. And why I emphasize why research is important, why I go through hours and sometimes days of research just to put this show together. It's critical. She did no further research before posting those tweets. That is a cardinal sin, even for social media. Matthews also cites her lack of sports media consumption as a reason for the tweets. So you out here speaking on you ain't got no knowledge of, really. But again, Double J, no offense to you and what you said earlier, this is my point, too, about just because you make the big dollars, that really don't mean jack. Because she making way more money than I am doing this. But you see what she did? She effed up. She congratulates Judy on all his accomplishments. Hold on. She congratulated Judy on all his accomplishments and wishes him good luck on his future career in the NFL. Go ahead, Double J. What were you going to say?
Well, that's my problem. So again, being from the Midwest, we're all familiar with Larry Hoover and the origin of the Gangster Disciples and you know who they are and what they represent. But in that, you walked us through a very thorough timeline, and albeit a very short one, from the time that she's seen him to the time that she connected those preemptive dots. Meanwhile, the Patriots pick a player that has a tattoo.
Right.
And not just a tattoo that was supposedly done by himself.
Preach, Double J,
supporting a
preach.
far right movement, and we have to find out about it days later. It has to be pointed out to, again, why? Because it's simply not the usual suspects. If it wasn't death, drugs, or gangs, that's not what the major media that these platforms are interested in.
Yeah. Speak it, dog. Speak it. Are you done? Because I thought you was gonna go off, Double J. Yeah, I thought you was, when I saw. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and ultimately here it just shows everything that's wrong with society that we allow. These are the social norms that have needed to be buried for quite some time. This guilty till proven innocent. Again, it was, why does she have a job right now? If any of us were to make those claims, we would be dragged down an open street for everyone to take their shot at us.
Exactly. Good stuff, Double J. See, that's why I got him on the program, y'all. That's why I got him on the P-Rogram. Brother Rich, you want to weigh in on that?
Well, again, I thought it was significant because I had heard about this young man's story. And when I heard about it, what caught my attention is that the young man immediately said, and this could have easily and was easily researchable, that he's been called this from a young man by his friends because that is an element of the makeup of his name. So this is just a common thing, and he was honoring the community. He was honoring that when he was wearing the Star of David. He was wearing it in an honorable way. So I don't understand why this individual took it upon herself. I didn't even have to research it when I came across the story. It was right there immediately in the headlines that this young man has been known by this name and this moniker, this nickname, if you will, for some time. So it's a shame that this young woman, as Double J said, how she got a job when this we know is come out about the Patriot players he pointed out to us. All of these things, again, society's double standards. Again, when we know how this works. We know that somebody has to be the bad guy in the script, and they always pick that guy and say, oh, that guy, let's describe the bad guy. He's going to be a black guy. He's going to be so-and-so tall. He's going to be this. He can have dreadlocks, maybe not. Maybe he looks so. That's how it is. We know that's how it is.
At the end of the day, this is serious, man. Do you know how many lives have been lost throughout the years of this country from unnecessarily, from guilty by association? Unnecessarily, man. Y'all out here playing with people's lives, man. She look at this dude's jewelry and didn't even think to give him the benefit. It just automatically went straight to, where are you? That's a sickness, man, for which no medicine can cure. You done already painted the picture. That's what I mean. But that's what I said earlier about the perception being the reality in this country, man. And people are getting killed over nonsense, man. You done already labeled this dude. Don't know him. Don't know nothing about him. I just read to you in the tweet. She said, because she ain't really on social media all like that. In other words, because I ain't really in the loop. But you got I'll give you another word to start with L. You got a lot to say about a dude you ain't even in the loop on in general about what he do. That's why I'm glad we come here and we say what we say, man. Even if we only reach 5, 10, 15, 20 people, those 20 people need to understand. Can't go around doing that kind of shit. And like my man Double J said, she got a job still. Why? Why? Begs the question. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. All right, fellas, let's turn our attention to the thing we've all been waiting for. episodes
Right.
3 and 4 of The Last Dance. Brother Rich, are you, I mean, my goodness, at this point, it's only 4 episodes in, but I mean, do we really need to even see the rest of them?
Well, I mean, look, at this point, we all wondering why didn't they just let us stream them all at one time? Because all of us would have stayed up one night and just watched the whole thing. all the way through. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. We don't, the point has been made. I think the point is being made in a very serious way that we are absolutely seeing the GOAT. I mean, I'm public with mine. Kobe is my personal GOAT. But the GOAT of this game that we love is without a doubt the young man that we all are bearing witness to again. This man called Michael Jordan. This what he did, his dedication, his commitment, his passion, and you hear his peers talking about him and the way they talked about him. You see him in real time experiencing it. We can now look back on it and see none of this is fake. We could see this last 2 episodes where we saw all of us who lived through that period of basketball, where we remember the bad boy Pistons and what they stood for, when that man had to really pay a price to go in the lane and do what he did. And I'm going to tell you something else, what that struck me about this series. It struck me that really Jordan, and I know this might be controversial to some people, but outside of Scottie Pippen, and every once in a while when you have a Paxton or a Kerr to plug in, Jordan really didn't have a lot of help. He didn't. Primarily with just really him riding. He took this thing, these 6 championships, really he put it on his shoulder. And I think it's perfect to say that Scottie was the perfect second man, the perfect Robin, the Batman, because Jordan really was a superhero in that time and what he had to do and what he did and and we're really revisiting this now. Like, man, Michael Jordan was a serious individual. Yeah.
I tell you what. This documentary so far has made it to all of them folks who watch highlights and want to try to make a case off of highlights. They starting to moonwalk like Michael Jackson, except for they got steel toes on. You know what I'm trying to tell you? You're backpedaling like a champ, and you can't get out from up under it. And at the end of the day, Brother Rich, what you said about Mike and his peers and what his peers said about him, we getting ready to get to some of that in a minute. But let me ask this question first, because I got a few key points I wrote down here I wanted to ask, and we'll stay with you. When it comes to Jerry Krause, and this is one of the ones I wanted to mention last week, when it comes to Jerry Krause, there's no denying that Krause built the Bulls. Do we agree on that, Double J, Brother Rich?
Fact.
But
It,
to me, also epitomizes just how destructive ego can be. People want to say whatever it is, this guy and that guy who destroyed the Bulls. It was Krause. He built it and he tore it down. His ego, he tore it down. And then that thing you mentioned about Pippen, not pimping. Excuse me, people, not pimping. Pippen. We talk about this. We've talked about this on more than one occasion, but weeks and weeks ago we emphasized it. We talk about when you're putting together, especially when it comes to basketball, building the player, getting a player, and then adding complementary pieces around the player. That's what Pippen was to me in that estimation. And I even know we all, we saw it. We got a chance to see Pippen. I mean, the Bulls, they beat my Cavs up to no end. But in this documentary, we just reaffirmed that you can add a guy to the next guy. But if that guy, he can have, like RB say, he can be 6'8", 6'9", but if he's not complementary to the other guy, then they're incongruent. It don't work. There's no symmetry. Pippen was the ultimate complementary player to that guy. And people love talking what ifs. That really irks me to no end. A what if. Man, listen, how you going to base an argument, something concrete off of what could or what couldn't be? That's bass backwards. Well, if the lady across the street had a mustache, she'd be somebody's uncle. Go sit down with all of that what if kind of stuff. I don't know if you could have put any other player next to him, at least in that time frame, that would have been as complimentary as Pippen. Can you all think of anybody? And that's no disrespect to Bird and Magic and Moncrief and Neek and none of them other guys. Pick a guy. Lloyd Daniels, pick a guy. Pippen was it was the right on time, and he was the ultimate. He checked off all the complimentary boxes to that guy. But yeah, brother Rich, yeah. And I mean, I give Pippen, look, man, I give Pippen all the credit in the world, man. I do. He was a bad dude. But again, let's go back to Krause. Do you all agree that his ego was just as destructive in destroying the Bulls as his insight was in building the Bulls? Brother Rich?
Without a doubt.
Double J?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean,
go ahead, brother Rich. Go ahead.
No. You can say Double J.
Okay, yeah, Double J. Go ahead. What?
For me, it's without a doubt.
Okay, got you. Double J, go ahead.
When ego is lost, limit is lost. So absolutely.
Dang, Double J, you on fire. Did you eat your oatmeal this morning? You on fire today. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? No tape delays, no nothing. You just coming with it. You know what I'm saying? You must be excited about the upcoming Brown season. I get it. Fuel for the fire, baby. Okay. Here's another one. How much of a factor, if at all, did Scottie's contract situation, this is another one I wanted to throw in from last week, weigh in the Bulls' demise, Brother Rich, in your opinion?
Absolutely. It played an enormous amount. Because here's the thing. Scottie's in the midst of dealing with, A, he knows he's underappreciated in the press, among his teammates, and now he's openly being underappreciated by management. So Scottie is feeling unwanted in the environment that he knows that without his contribution, the team would not have won those titles. Now, MJ knows that, the teammates know that, but he's not being looked at and rewarded like that. So certainly it definitely played a part in that.
I think so too.
But all of this, again, goes right back to what you were pointing to, is Jerry Krause. He could have fixed all of this because the reality is he wanted all of them to go kiss the ring, and none of them would kiss the ring. Jordan was way too big to kiss the ring. Phil had become way too big to kiss the ring, and Scottie was way too big to kiss the ring. And ultimately, none of them were the owner wasn't going to kiss the ring. So he was the girl left out at the prom. Nobody wanted to dance with him, and he had put the dance together, paid for all everything for all the band, and then nobody wants to dance. He said, well, this is over with. I'm closing down the dance. I'm closing, turning off the lights, and I'm taking my key and we're going home.
And you know
what it was.
And you know what else is interesting? For people to even ask or point at anybody else as far as the Bulls' demise, destruction, whatever you want to call it, other than Krause, when the dude told Phil, I don't care if y'all go 82-0, this thing is done. I mean, what else? Who else would you point the finger at? You can't point the finger at Michael. You can't point the finger at Phil, BJ, Scottie, Judd Buechler. Stop trying. I'm sick of the apologist trying to point the blame and place blame in anywhere other than where it need to be placed at. When you want to blame something, start with yourself first. Check yourself first. That's why I keep referencing that man in the mirror thing. You check yourself first, man. Krause did this. Nobody's taking credit away from him, Krause that is, about, again, building the Bulls. He made some absolute masterful moves. But he cut his nose off to spite his face. Double J, how much of a factor, if at all, did Scottie's contract situation weigh in the Bulls' demise, in your opinion?
Oh, it's definitely a significant one. As you pointed out, and as I'll reiterate to the audience, the cap of this versus the cap of today was far less complex. It was as simple as it sounds. Here's a number, stay under it. There were far less restrictions on, you could offer Michael, if it was $100 million for a team cap, you could literally say, I'm going to give you $99 million and then make the rest of them split that last piece of cheese, assuming they were willing to do so. But to your point, it was a big one because you're not winning anyone over in a locker room when you have a critical piece of what has made you successful unhappy.
Yeah, I say that too. Double J, have you been watching this docu-series so far with a pen and pad, or have you been eating popcorn?
I've watched these episodes more times than I'd like to speak on. Because, again, to me, it is no different than why you reread something.
Say that. Hold. Would you
detail
repeat that?
or-
Would you please repeat that? No difference. Why you what? What?
Why you would reread
Okay, got you.
an article or book. It's simply put, you could be missing a detail, context, everything from how filled is Michael Jordan's glass of anejo that he has, and how outlandish are the comments that follow. That's what I mean. We can get as granular as that, but that only comes if you are looking and going through this with a fine-tooth comb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brother Rich, what about you, man? Are you watching this with a pen and pad or popcorn?
Popcorn.
Say you already got all your notes already.
This is
Huh?
my
Ain't nothing else you can
TV,
write, huh?
I got my notes. I used to study him back in the day.
Yeah, I got you.
Absolutely. Come on, man. We all studied him. Kobe was the best student he ever had, but we all studied him like that.
Yeah.
That's why they could make a commercial say like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
Yeah.
The man, Spike made us all ask the question. Look, it must be the shoes.
Yeah,
This man is flying,
I
it
remember
must be
that.
the
Yeah.
shoes. So even if we didn't like Michael Jordan, we had to respect him. You didn't have to like Michael Jordan as he crushed your team. You didn't like that, but you knew that this is different. This was not what you saw before. This was not like anything we'd seen before. And these highlights remind us, like, okay, I wasn't deluded. I wasn't deceived. That was true what I was looking at back there. A young man was literally flying where they had to invent. Listen to this. They had to invent something called the Jordan Rule. They've never invented. There was, as much as I love Kobe, nobody ever had to invent the Kobe Rule. The league had changed by then.
Yeah.
Then you couldn't tear somebody up the sky. You couldn't literally punch a person with a closed fist as they were coming. You couldn't do that. Jordan survived that and won titles, man. Come on. The Jordan Rules existed for real.
Yeah. You know what else? As a lifelong Clevelander who lived through Cleveland State being cheated in the 1986 NCAA tournament by Navy and David, too tight, short-wearing Robinson. Don't get me started on that bull. The drive, the shot, the fumble, Don Rogers, the cast on his arm in the 1985 AFC Divisional Champion playoff game with the Browns against the Dolphins, where they took Marino to the hilt. Matter of fact, the Browns defense beat Marino up so bad he busted his Achilles. And y'all don't want to have no history lesson here about the Browns, baby, and Cleveland sports. When John Elway knocked us off for the 150th time, I was and I was, of course, younger, I was salty. But when Jordan hit the shot, man, when Jordan beat the Cavs, man, I stood up off the couch and I saluted him. Because I saw every one of them games, and he mentioned it in the documentary about how the Cavs, and we already said it here on the program. I'm sorry, we're going to claim that. We was one step ahead of all of y'all. The Cavs beat the Bulls 6 times in the regular season that year.
Fact.
Mike said nobody. I'm telling y'all, my memory don't always work. It don't. But I remember that to a T. Because like so many people when that series started, I was like, oh, man, the Cavs got this. Because they had, with Mike, they had did the Bulls in, and Mike said, back then we played our division opponents, which was the Central Division, 6 times. The Cavs smashed the Bulls 6 times. So it ain't like, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing people talking about them dudes back then played plumbers and janitors. Bull crap. Listen. And then I'm not going to mention the other guy's name because we're not about to go down that road. But, the argument is, this dude he beat dynasties, but Jordan didn't beat no dynasties. You know why he didn't have to beat no dynasties? Because he kept everybody from becoming one. Let Mike not be in the league. You know how many teams probably would have been winning championships back then? I know the Cavs could have won one back then. They had a squad to do it. But it took Jordan in a Herculean effort. Jordan's will to win was greater than the next man's. He said, remember, and you know what he said too? He told the one guy, and even the reporter guy, what's the reporter guy's name? I can't think his name off the top of my head, said, yeah, we had all written gave our predictions. The one guy wrote the Cavs in 3 or whatever it was in the sweep. The other guy said Cavs 3-1 or whatever it was. And I said 3-2, whatever. Yeah. And he said, I took care of you. And I took care of you, and now I'm about to take care of you. And I didn't even know when he did the fist pump thing after he hit the shot. I didn't know he was saying a whole bunch of expletives, but that was in him. He when I talk about taking personal, all I'm saying is, man, it ain't just basketball. It ain't just basketball, man, and we'll get to why it ain't just basketball. I want y'all to remember when I'm saying it right at this moment, because we're going to get to that in a minute, why it's not just basketball. You understand what I'm saying? But go ahead, Double J. Yeah. I mean, do you not see from this documentary, and I know you're a Pistons guy and a Michigan dude or whatnot, but that Jordan was just like Kobe, man. Jordan was just different, man. He was just a different dude at that time, man. And what you saw in him in that moment, and you can't quantify. You can't get a measuring tape for what he brought to he wanted to beat you bad. You know what I think? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he saw opponents the same way he saw his brother. Not that he didn't love his brother, but you remember he talked about the battles him and his brother had in the backyard. I want to beat you so bad.
Right.
And he took that, he carried that with him. That's what carried him. That's what carried him. You know what I'm saying? So, again, Double J, we coming to you with this next one. John Sally said it, but in this instance, he was speaking for the Pistons. And I quote, "The only way to stop him," of course, him being Jordan, "was to hurt him." So I'm asking you all this question today, right here, now, on this P-Rogram. What other player can you recall has garnered such sentiment? Search your mind real quick. From when you started up watching basketball, NBA, up to now. What other player can you recall that the opposition said the only way to stop this dude? Oh, well, okay.
Allen Iverson.
Okay, all right, good one, Brother Rich. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. What about you, Double J?
Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair. I give you that. Okay, so two. All right, two other guys. Okay, outside of them three guys, we'd have to go to the library, wouldn't we? We'd have to look it up, wouldn't we? Is what you all get my point here. You get what I'm saying? This just goes to show you the level of what this dude was, man, on that court, man. And what he put into it every time that before he stepped out on that court, he was letting you know, like Eddie Robinson for Grambling said, man, you better whatever you do, you better let the other guy in front of you know that he going to have a problem on his hands today. That's what competition is. And we'll get to what I mean by that a little bit later on down in the questionnaires. Brother Rich says Allen Iverson. Double J says Shaq. But after that, is there anybody you could think of after them two guys other than Mike? I didn't think so.
Well, in my bias, I would say that Kobe would have been that player, but he didn't have to deal with that because the rules of the league had changed by then, and you couldn't do that.
Yeah, right.
That was just a reality.
Right.
You couldn't tear players out there like that.
Yeah. But them rules, but Kobe didn't. He didn't. Somehow he didn't get the memo because he was attacking. You know what I'm saying? Cole was like, if y'all ain't gonna chop at me, but you know what he said about Tony Allen though. You know, I love playing against Tony Allen, but it was a rarity, is what you know what I mean. That's the point I'm driving at here. Okay, so after that loss in 1990 to Double J's Pistons, who, by the way, we'll get to the Pistons and that whole deal about the handshake and all of that stuff here in a minute. This is B.J. Armstrong talking now. Nobody went on vacation. We all got back in the gym, and it started with Mike. That's what I'm saying, man. at some point, you keep getting your stuff handed to you. At some point, you got to say, you know what, man, enough is enough. We're not gonna do this today. Not today. It ain't gonna happen today. Brother Rich, what do you say or what do you make of BJ's comments in regards to that loss in 1990 and what they all collectively had to do in order to get over that hump, a.k.a. the Detroit Pistons?
Well, Mike was showing the kind of leader we ultimately can now, again, in reflection, see that he was, and leading by example. And again, I can't help but listen to all those things and think about why those of us who loved and admired Kobe and respected his game so much loved him and saw him as the leader that he was, hated during that period. That he led by example. He went to the gym and went and worked on whatever it was. You couldn't beat Mike one winter. You beat Mike, he going right back to the gym to work on whatever that weakness was. So one of the things that we're seeing in this documentary, and we're watching it in his physical development as well, that he gets stronger and stronger and stronger every summer. And you see him physically developing as well as we're watching him develop his game and continue to become a better and better player.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. This documentary is an eye-opener. And then we ain't even got to part 5 yet. Double J, what about you, man? After that loss to the Pistons and what BJ said and that nobody went on vacation, we all got back in the gym, and it started with Mike, man. What do you take from that?
Well, that speaks to leadership. And you have to have the buy-in. I mean, you know, I try to put the context of events that have taken place in the past, how they would play out in the present. And, you know, a large topic and segment that we've spent countless hours on this program is the fundamental differences between yesteryear and today, both at the youth all the way to the professional level. And I really hope that someone that is younger, or even someone that may be as old as you and I, that is in a position to teach, witness that.
Yeah.
Because that is what it takes. Again, I don't care if you want to be a better plumber versus being, you know, trying to conquer a bad boy Piston team. You have to put the time in.
No question.
And
you have to.
Especially in the context of today, of the present. There's no banana boat here. They were in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm so glad you said that way. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they're not riding the waves, huh?
That's a low blow. That's a low blow. That's a low blow.
Hey,
let's leave the king out of it.
Hey, it's boxing.
It's a low blow.
It happens. It's boxing, and in the spirit of competition, being the judge, jury, and executioner, I will allow it.
Double J, you know he loves that. He loves that. That's almost like you saying something about the Cowboys.
Hey, whatever the case may be, if you want to say right in my wheelhouse, absolutely. Like my man RB would say, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm saying I will allow it. Continue, Double J. Yeah, ain't no banana boat. Ain't nobody wearing. Listen, I put it like this: them guys wasn't wearing fingernail polish on their toes back then. That's all I'm saying. What you say, Double J? Go ahead.
Well, remember here, I'm going to quote the same gentleman that the catalyst to that movement over that summer. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships.
Oh my goodness! Would you? Ooh.
If Mike would have been in that gym solo, they lose that series the following year. I could all but promise you that. Even though it was a worn down team, they would have lost. And why I feel that way is what was shown and displayed further in that particular episode, stating when they hit Scottie and he did not react, they knew they lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
because of what took place however many months prior with everyone in that gym.
Mm. But see, here's the question I have in that regard, though, and this is for both of you all. Whoever wants to answer, that's fine. Do you think Scottie should have reacted in that instance, or was he saying, "I'm gonna let my game speak for
No,
itself"?
that's exactly what they were saying.
Okay,
And they
okay.
had worked. They had expected this. They had gotten them to the point that we gonna let our game speak for itself, because
Okay.
they understood that had Scottie reacted, he gets suspended. He has the potential to change the momentum.
Draymond Green.
Still had locked them in. They were locked in as a team. Yeah, he was exactly correct. He was not going to pull a Draymond Green.
Draymond
That's
Green.
Absolutely correct.
Got you.
Absolutely correct.
Got you.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, in that I think it was 1990. I don't remember one. I heard one of the players say it, but I can't remember who. They mentioned that they said that Pippen had all the physical gifts because he needed to get over the hump too. And there's been some conversation about his whole deal with him having migraines and things like that. But see, here's the thing, and I don't discredit anybody's information in regards to whatever they talking about and bringing forth. But a lot of people don't know that Scottie Pippen played for Central Arkansas, okay? And I watched Scottie at Central Arkansas. Now, I really didn't understand all the nuances of the game and so on and so forth, but I did see him. And there was a few times where in certain moments he never disappeared, but he didn't go as hard as you need to in certain moments. Do that make sense? Maybe. Okay. So the one player, somebody said and thing, Pippen had all the physical gifts, but he didn't have, but not the mental fortitude. And Jordan's thing was, that whole migraine thing.
Right.
And I don't think that, I'm not going to say Scottie didn't have migraines, because we know what happened in the Super Bowl with Terrell Davis. You know what I mean? They happen. And I know people who have them, and I mean, I've just had regular headaches, so I can only imagine. But do you think it was more, how much more or less, and I mean, us not being there, we can't really say, so just get your best guess, I suppose. How much more or less was it really the migraines as opposed to Jordan's thing was, maybe he just had some trepidation, because the bad boys were the bad boys for a reason. Okay, going up against them Pistons. Brother Rich, you think it was the migraines, or him really not,
I think it absolutely was the migraine. I think it absolutely was a migraine. And like you do, I know people who have had migraines and suffer migraines, and that's a real thing in your life. You literally cannot function. You literally did. And everything he was describing and so we remember that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had to miss an NBA final because of migraine. Very same reason why we today know Magic Johnson for having performed.
I did not know.
That's what was wrong with Kareem that day. Yes.
I thought Kareem was hurt, like
suffered from migraines all his life.
Oh.
No, he was having a horrible migraine problem.
Oh.
He suffered from terrible migraines all his life.
Oh, wow.
And so this is what's going on with so understanding that Scottie could have had a migraine that kept him from playing, absolutely. I think Mike understood that. I think Mike just felt like, well, I don't give a skip if you got a migraine. Come on and play. Because if I got a migraine, Mike is thinking of his own will and his own drive and his own fortitude, and he's saying, come on, I'll play anyway. I don't care if I have a migraine. I'll still play. So come on and try to play. But Scottie doesn't have that kind of drive and that kind of will. He can't play through that. And that doesn't make him any less of a person.
No.
He's just not at the level of MJ, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we also see about Scottie, that Scottie was a good second in command. Scottie was never gonna be the kind of leader that Michael Jordan was and is.
Yeah, that's well said. I appreciate that.
I want to point this out. I got a little bit of a different take.
Okay.
On this, or different theory rather. I believe, because again, we're talking about a different series, so a previous year. And now we've heard Mike specifically say, as Brother Rich pointed out, regarding that example that Jerry Reinsdorf said about if you have a headache, coincidentally, and there's a 10% chance that one of the pills in there is going to kill you, well, are you going to take one? And Mike's response, of course, was, it depends how bad the headache is.
Right.
Now, my philosophy and theory on this is that Scottie actually had a concussion because again, given the
Oh.
physical nature of what they were going through,
Oh. Yeah, that's a good.
and there was no concussion protocol, especially in the NBA. They were even
I could believe it.
they adopted a philosophy after the NFL took the lead on that because of what they had went through, almost as they just to keep the status quo. But back then, again, I'm not going to say I don't know to this day if he still deals with migraines or anything along those lines. But given that context and how he was getting hit, it is not too far out of the stretch of the imagination to say that he had suffered a concussion and was dealing with the effects of that, further on in that series, which culminated into that particular game. And that's why he had that. But I will reiterate this point as well. When it came to Scottie, Michael specifically said he needed to remind him that I'm going to fight with you to get the best out of him, to know that he had his back, that may really unleashed him to his fullest potential.
Yes, and I'm so sick of people talking about Scottie made Mike. That right there kills that argument. And he said it to Horace Grant too. He said, "Man, don't let him see you whining, whatever it was." Did he say whining? No, he didn't say whining, did he? He said something to that effect. Like, in other words, Mike was telling Horace, "Man, don't ever show the opponent that they getting to you." That's what the gist of it was. That's what I gathered from it. You know what I mean? No, if they getting to you, they getting to you fine. Come tell me, so to speak. But don't let them see it, because it's not, especially not them Pistons. You let them see it, they like sharks in the water. You blood in the water, you done. You know what I'm saying? They going to really go after you. As would in the case of like boxing, when a guy know you got an injury. He going to keep, but that's what he's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? He going to keep hitting that eye. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm trying to win. Yeah, but but that's the spirit of competition, baby. That's what it do. And I'm glad you brought that up, Double J, about the concussion thing, because there was a time period in my life when, I played we had like little rec leagues or whatever, and I'm in a prison game one time. And I had a concussion. I was done. My ears were ringing. My head hit the floor. My ears were ringing. And when when I hit the floor, I was kind of like knocked out for a minute. When I came to, they hit me with the smelling salts or whatever it is. But I told you how I got knocked out the air and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But they sat me up. You're like, "You okay, Jay?" I could, you can hear people, you can hear voices, but you can't really. Nothing is clear. Your whole clarity issue is you done. You know what I mean? So when I started to come to, I was still wobbly and so on and so forth. And they, basically they was like, "How many fingers?" And I was like, "Man, Tuesday." They was like, "Oh yeah, he done." I didn't even realize. To be honest with you, when they took me back to the dorm and all of that, after a day or two or so, they was telling me about the game. I didn't remember even playing in the game. So I'm with you on that, Double J. That's a very, very good point and a very, very strong possibility. So, I'm saying, again, kudos to Mike letting them guys know that I got your back, baby. I got your back. And who won't fight with you if they know that you're willing to fight for yourself? See what I'm saying? That dude was different, man. That dude was different. He just was different. He was a different type of dude. This documentary, again, is exposing all of the apologists and the banana boat, toenail polish wearing folk. Excuse my French fries. All right, lastly, on this Last Dance documentary, we want to get to the portion and the part about the handshake ordeal. Was Zeke wrong? And you can tell it's still some some not so nice feelings about this to this day. But look, I'm gonna say this. Who here, and I'm using this as a reference or analogy, however you want to put it, who here does not recall the movie that Bruce Lee was in with Chuck Norris in that fight scene, Return of the Dragon? One of the most epic fight scenes of all. When you're in competition, my thing is, I get it why Zeke and them didn't shake, because I've gone through that too, and I understand, because a guy want to win so bad and he hate losing to you that he just refuses to give you credit for beating him. I get that. But on the flip side, call it sportsmanship if you want to. But the one thing, and I use that fight scene to illustrate this, the one thing that you do when you have an opponent who is worthy, and that opponent takes the victory from you. Remember we talked about this before. He has to earn that victory. What did Bruce do towards the end of that scene after he took Chuck Norris out? He took this kung fu tie, they call it a gi, took the top and he put it over the guy's face. And he knelt down in doing so. It was a code, an honors type deal. And he did that, that gesture showed that I've defeated you, but you were a worthy opponent. Do you understand what I'm saying? In that moment.
Right.
Jordan lost to the Detroit Pistons 2 years in a row. And they were his nemesis. And if you understand the definition of nemesis, it go beyond I just don't like you. You get what I'm saying? Nemesis means I can't get rid of you. And you know what I'm saying? And I keep losing. Every time I lose to you, it don't do nothing but solidify the nemesicity. That's my word. Don't try to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? But Jordan still, as much as he hated them Pistons, still went and dapped up every last one of them dudes. And to be honest with you, with all due respect, I've got mad respect for the bad boy Pistons because they showed you now it ain't that the league wasn't tough before. They just took toughness to a whole nother level. And it wasn't just that they would see people confuse them how tough they were and how they roughed you up with that they couldn't play basketball. Don't get it twisted. The Pistons could hoop too. They could hoop. Mark Aguirre, look him up, was a dog. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Rodman was Joe Dumars, the silent killer.
Dumars.
Come on, man. Adrian Dantley was already gone by then. But Lane Beard, you know what I'm saying, was way more than solid. And we know what Zeke was, and then Sally, you know, so don't get it twisted.
Vinny Johnson.
The microwave, man. Come on, man. When you get a nickname like the microwave, come on, man. The Pistons could hoop. See what I'm saying? But they just let you know, baby, you're going to earn every one of these possessions. Every point you get, baby, you're going to feel it. Now, if you're a competitor and understand what competition is, you're a fool if you salty at the Pistons for whatever they did, even if you're a Jordan and the Bulls fan. You don't be mad at the Pistons, but give Mike the credit for having the will and the drive to overcome that. Where these new dudes today, they talking about the league. It's 82 games. That's too many games in the season. But yet and still, when it come time to hand out credit and trophies, everybody now you think you deserve a seat next to Mike. How? You ain't had to deal with what Mike had to deal with. But you better than him? Come on, man. Come on now. Double J, and I say that because you and I kind of, not me and you personally, but we've been going back and forth with people about it's a whole thread on the Facebook scene about the whole handshake ordeal. I don't understand why folks is disrespecting the Pistons. Then again, maybe I do because they're all highlight watchers. And then what's the one rule? We said this before, but let me remind people. What's the one cardinal rule when it comes to highlights? You have to understand the highlights can make a player look all good or make a player look all bad. Or they can make it, you can pick highlights to make your case however which way you want to, but that don't mean it's telling the real story. I mean, if I'm wrong, just correct me if I'm wrong, one of y'all.
Right.
Come on now. You can't take no credit from them Pistons, none whatsoever. But I understand where Jordan is coming from about if you ain't gonna shake nobody else's hand or dap nobody else up, if you beat me and I'm talking about we battle, and you beat me, I'm gonna tip my cap to you, man. And you're gonna be tipping yours to me because you're gonna be like, man, I had to earn it. That's why I used that Bruce and Chuck Norris reference. Man, ain't no doubt about Chuck Norris was a more than, and I'm talking about in real life. Bruce Lee gave him he said, man, Chuck ain't no joke. So, of course, it's a movie or whatnot, but you have to understand the significance of what it took for me to defeat you. I got to tip my hat to you, man. Because if you what it take to defeat me, you're going to be like, man, good game, dog. Good game. It's a respect and an honor thing, man. I'm respectful of the fact that because when you beat me, even though I wasn't there for it, it's going to show all of what you had to do and what you put up with in order to get to that moment to beat me. Zeke should have dapped him up, man. And I'm sorry at Lambeer for saying don't shake their hand. I ain't feeling Bill on that one. I ain't liking that. But go ahead, Double J. What were you gonna say?
I'm going to go the other way on this, and here's why. When the Pistons beat the Celtics, so that passing of the torch, that was the exact same treatment that they were given. So that was the norm that was established by those that came before them. Now, you will see briefly in those quote-unquote highlights, I'm trying to remember which Celtics player it was. I think it was Danny Ainge walking off and ultimately getting one high five from Isaiah.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Mid-court.
Yeah, I remember that.
Additionally, even taking into the context of present day with the documentary where Jordan had the disdain and he had the nerve to say they were bad champions, bad for the sport, and he didn't even care to hear what Isaiah had to say. So why, at that point, it's personal. And you know what? And personally, if I'm Isaiah Thomas, I say, you know what? I'm 3-1 against you. I don't have to give you anything.
Yeah. I understand it. I can't argue with you, Double J.
Get off your chest,
Double J. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Detroit. Go on.
I get it. But that's why they call it the Motor City. I get it. I understand it. I get it. I can't be mad at you, Double J. I've experienced it too. I won't sit here and lie to you and say that I dapped everybody up. But it's. I'm not saying if it's like a right or wrong type of deal. But again, all I'm saying is, whatever the Celtics did to Zeke should have had enough wherewithal to know that they ain't had nothing to do with what Mike did. You got to every situation should be judged based on his own merit. Mike, you don't think it was painful for Mike losing to the same folks two years in a row? And then have to hear the questions about, can he lead a team? Can he ever win it? Because you know that like Elway said before he won his Super Bowls, he said, I got tired of hearing Manning too. All of them say that. If I don't win one, oh my gosh, I ain't gonna never be able to hear the end of it. You know, that type of deal. You know, he was dealing with all of that. You can't hear he can score 40, but he can't beat the Pistons. You know, come on, you know at that point. If you don't beat them, then who cares how many points a game you scored? That's all that people going to talk about. Man, I don't care nothing about you. You can't beat come on now. And the Pistons has set the mark. Man, I'm a Detroit Piston bad boy fan. Do you hear me when I'm telling you? I loved the Detroit Pistons. Are you serious? But if nothing else, man, Zeke, they should at least dap Mike up. Even if you don't want to dap Horace Grant up.
But Jay, no. And here's why. That all sounds very personal to Mike.
Yeah,
that's his perspective. That's his opinion.
Yeah,
they're not worried about him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make a case for sportsmanship, Double J. I'm just trying to make a case for sportsmanship.
My big brother.
Double J, I'm not going against you. Everything you saying, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. I understand it. Cause we done been on the playgrounds, man, where them dudes from the other neighborhood come and beat us 5 games in a row. And you know, back then when you 16 and 17, you know, the only thing that mattered to you is what is the little girls that's up at the park. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And you lose 5 straight. Oh my God. And then the girls get to, oh my goodness. Who wants to deal with that? So I'm with you, Double J. I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? You got to dap Mike up, man. But I understand the culture back then was. I get it. I mean, you know, it was all relative. I get it. I'm with you. If Zeke had said,
now, let's not forget the events that took place after. You know, Isaiah paid that price for that action or inaction.
Yeah.
For well into his career beyond that. It's interesting now because it was.
Oh, you talking about the Dream Team thing?
I want to say within under 24 hours that specifically the Dream Team, that it was not just Michael that wanted him off the team. And this is my problem about the behavior in that particular action, and why I'm pointing out that the Boston Celtics, the darlings, one of the darlings of the ball, did the same action with no repercussions, no backlash, and they did it again in 2012, I believe, against the Miami Heat. But again, we're not talking about them.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Pistons way back when, but to find out that it was more than just Michael Jordan that did not want Isaiah Thomas on the Dream Team, and let's not forget who was coaching that team. So it wasn't the coach.
Yeah, but and
that speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's
to me.
interesting.
And this is why, if I'm Isaiah Thomas, I let the South Side of Chicago inside of me speak up and call out whoever it was.
Yeah.
It's enough of this nice guy Zeke stuff, and I'm going to tell him this the next time that I run into him, because it's about time. Look, the reality of it is you grew up in Chicago and you played in Detroit, and those two cities should absolutely back you. You got the rings, man. You got nothing to lose. What, are you worried about your NBA TV spot? And it's not going to hurt your champagne sales. I'll still buy it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you from a personal standpoint, I don't see Zeke should have been on that team, regardless of the politics and the whole nine. Zeke should have been on that team, no question about it. I don't see why he was not on that team either. But again, from we on the outside looking in, you just see all of this stuff, and as to the reasons why is now really just starting to come to fruition. We heard a little bit of this and a little bit of that back then, but now, you know what I'm saying, they can shed more light on the whole ordeal, whatever. But no, for me personally, Zeke should have, excuse my French, right? He damn sure should have been on that squad, on that Dream Team. There's no question. Because if you think about it back then.
But
go ahead, Brother Rich.
Well, Double J, in response to what you're saying, and even what you're saying, Jay, one of the reasons why Zeke can't let the South Side of Chicago come out of him is because he'd have to tell his side of it too. What did he do that was wrong? And let's be honest.
That's true too.
What his problem was? Now, I understand why he did that, but let's be real. That was wrong to not do that. Because one thing we can't say about Michael Jordan is that he was always honorable to the game. On the court, he was always an honorable player. He never did that to the players. It would have been different if he was playing against the Celtics, and he did that to the Celtics because they had done that. But it was been respectful of him, and he didn't give Michael Jordan that respect in kind. If Lambeer wanted to walk off and not shake anybody's hand, that was fine. But man to man, captain to captain, leader to leader, they should have had that exchange at least.
That's what kind of what I was pointing to.
In that, even though I understand why, sir.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was pointing to. I said that's what I was saying. If nobody else, you got to go to you know what I'm saying. You got to go to Mike, because listen, I just look at it like.
I have to agree with you on that. Yeah, you have to agree. You should have done that.
Yeah, because what did Mike do?
I know why he didn't do that. But this is the last thing. Huh?
What did Mike do when he lost to the Pistons? Not Horace, not Pippen, not Phil, not no. What did Mike do when he lost to the Pistons twice?
Right. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, exactly. He was respectful.
That's all I was. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. If now my teammates, I can't speak for them.
And I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
But here's the thing about Zeke too. Here's the thing about Zeke that we got to be real about, and that's why I'm saying, Double J. Zeke can't tell the real part is that. The fact is that he grew up in Chicago, and this guy, Michael Jordan, was living in Chicago, the darling of Chicago. They won all these championships, and he was repping Detroit, and they were looked at as exactly what you just said. They were fighting against the little brother syndrome, and in truth, it wouldn't have even been good for the script if they had shaken their hands, because their whole imagery was and is to this day the bad boys. That's what they were. They acted as bad boys, all of them.
Yeah.
Come on, remember now, in today's NBA, the police would meet Rick Mahorn in the locker room, and they would put him in handcuffs for the kinds of things that he would do to players on the court. They would meet him and lock him up in prison. Bill Lambeer would be in Sing Sing right now doing 20 years.
Shoot, Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason too.
And who?
Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason too. Why you playing?
Without a doubt, absolutely fact. Absolute fact. Yeah, absolute fact.
Yeah, the culture was different then, but again, like you
very different.
Yeah, to everybody's point here, I mean, all points here are valid, no question about it. But back then, it wasn't just under NBA level; it was all throughout the neighborhoods. if you know, I mean, it was a true disdain because we took competition, man. Maybe we took it too far. I don't know, but I enjoyed it because it gave me it reinforced that whole roll your sleeves up, get down and dirty, and get it out the ground type thing. It's made you understand journey, and it ain't the prize at the end because you're gonna look back and be like, man, what you had to go through to get it, that's the reward. It's not the thing itself. That's why you see that thing being they posting up and down on Facebook, Double J, talking about some Brother Richard ain't gonna like this. When Mike got his butt handed to him, he went and got it in the gym. You know what I'm saying? When, some other folks got their butt handed to him, they made a decision. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Kobe wasn't.
Very terrible. Very terrible.
Kobe wasn't running. R.I.P. Mamba mentality, baby. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just ain't going to come up in here. Like I said, man, when I played at the Rucker, I had played at all kind of parks. Hey, when I went to the Rucker, they were like, young fella. You know what I mean? See, it's folks' legacies that's made in them type of places, man. And guys who you never get to play on that big stage where everybody can see. You know what I'm saying? And it meant something to them Pee Wee Kirklands and them Earl Manigaults to walk around through the cities of New York and be recognized. It meant something. I can't explain what it is that it meant. It meant something to be known in certain areas and neighborhoods that you otherwise ain't had no business being in. That, hey man, that dude can ball, man. It just meant something. But you didn't get that just because somebody they didn't walk up to you and hand that to you. Hey, here you go, here, put this sticker on your back. You're a great hooper. No, man, you had to, man. You know how many times you know how many times I had blood on my shirt, man. I'm just saying, Double J. Go ahead, I'm with you.
But here's my problem with this. What was Mike also known for?
Gambling?
The same thing that
Gambling?
he labeled Isaiah Thomas as.
What?
An a-hole. This is the guy who snuffed multiple teammates, including one with a right hook.
Yeah, but Double J, yeah, Double J, you wrong for that. You wrong for that. But Double J, for real though, seriously, all seriousness, you gotta in this case, like maybe just put blinders on and just say let's go right to the heart of it. True or false? When Mike lost to the Pistons twice as a competitor, you know how painful that is.
3 times.
Okay, three times. I'm just talking about them two. What did Mike do? No, what did Mike do in that moment? And that don't mean that in that moment that Mike still wasn't an a-hole and that Isaiah wasn't an a-hole. It was a lot of a-holes in the league. Danny Ainge was an a-hole. You understand what I'm saying? It was. But what did Mike do, man? Mike went to them dudes, man. As painful as it was, Mike went to them dudes, man. He let them know, all right, I'll see y'all again. I will see y'all again. And if for nothing, no other reason, even if you don't mean it, even if it's just a quick dap, yeah, all right, man, and be out. You know what I mean? You got to reciprocate that, man. Because Mike didn't want to do it, but he did because of what Brother Richard's point. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the game. You understand what I'm saying? He was always honorable to the game. You know what I mean? In all facets, man.
And he didn't do it because he's a nice guy. Because I'm going to say this. You can't win 6 championships in the NBA and be a nice guy.
No.
You can't win 5 titles in the NBA
no,
and being
can't,
nice guys don't win 5 and 6 titles. I'm sorry. You don't do that. Nice guys happen upon a championship here and there on a team. But nice guys can't win 6 titles and 6 finals MVPs.
Right.
And the nice guys can't do that.
Yeah, and nice guys don't go up and get against the Lakers and sweep and run them out the gym. You know what I'm saying? With Magic and Worthy and whoever else you want to add. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, they stumped the Lakers in the ground. But I'm sorry, man. I don't disrespect this era like that. Well, maybe I do. I mean, I ain't gonna even sit here and tell that lie. But I can't. That's another thing. And before we get out of here, I just want to ask you all, How do you evaluate what the game is or what a player is, not having seen a player or that era? How do you then evaluate it? See, I can't speak about the 60s. I was born in 69. Late 70s, I was young enough. I saw Doc and so on and so forth, the ABA and all that. But it was them 80s and them 90s and them 2000s, man. Them was the ones that when I really started understanding what it is I was really seeing. You understand what I mean? Them dudes, that just that era, man, was just and again, this is why I don't understand how Dr. J, man, don't get no mention at all in this conversation. Or that Kobe don't get no mention at all in the conversation. I just don't understand that. You know what I mean? We can't have no conversation about. We can have a conversation about basketball. But when you talking about hoop, like Brother Rich has been saying forever, man, we talking about basketball. Man, come on, man. You can't have that. That's why it's hard for me to do that top five. Who top five players at this time and that time? Because it was just too many of them. It was too many of them, man. Spencer Haywood and all them old type of dudes. And Lloyd Daniels, I just mentioned earlier. Now, everybody look at Lloyd didn't average but 8 points a game, whatever. But see, Lloyd had a drug problem. He did, unfortunately. But you ask anybody that know basketball about Lloyd Daniels? Okay. You know what I mean? Then you get to talking about the George Gervins, and then the Bernard King was a scoring machine. Bernard King? I you know what I mean? It just you can't. You can't. If you didn't that again, I can only
and his brother was only one shelf under him.
Thank you. Excuse me, thank you. And then let us not forget, because this is guy Mikael Arnold. He putting up these side by sides. Who you picking, this guy or that guy? And he had Drazen Petrovic next to Reggie Lewis. You know how many guys that will go on social media, swear up and down and talk basketball and don't have no clue who as the Reggie Lewis was? You know how many guys who swear up and down these high school players and high school teams now that win 25 games is the best high school teams ever, but they not no clue that the Baltimore Dunbar squad, 81, 82, and 82, and 83, 84 was undefeated, that had Reggie Lewis on that team and David Wingate and all of them? Like you said, Double J, number one, the problem is what we've been saying here all along, dudes don't read. And number two and number three, they don't reread if they do read. At all. Man, come on, man. Just too many guys. I get it. It's fun to talk about. Hey, man. Hey, I got this great new album in the mail today. I get it. It's fun to talk about. But I can't. Please don't ask me to do a top nothing. I can't do it. I've seen too many guys, man, even on the collegiate level, that didn't make it to the NBA. And they didn't not make it to the NBA because they wasn't good. They just, like this one guy. What's the guy's name, Double J, the young guy from Tulane that just got hemmed up, got charged with murder or something, or attempted murder or something or another. You know how many guys? It's more guys with them kind of stories than it was guys that we got posters of on our wall that played in the NBA. I guarantee it. It's just too many guys to do a top 10 list of all time and a top 5 list of all time, or where you think he rank out of all time. I said, man, okay, go back to the water cooler. I get it. It's fun. But you can't seriously ask me. You can't really seriously ask me to do that. You just can't. I've seen too many guys, man. Because once you start naming a 5, I guarantee you another 5 gonna crop up, and then another 5, and then another 5, and let me not forget. We all talk about Doc in them ABA days. Go look up the ABA and the players that the ABA had. Forget the NBA for a minute. When Doc reigned supreme in the ABA, go look up some. That's what I mean, man. But Doc was that. It was so many other great players in the ABA. That's how good Doc was. That it was him, and then all them other guys. If it ain't him, they would have been number 1s, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10s. You see what I'm saying? And then did I mention Moses Malone? Did I mention him? No. Did I mention Terry Cummings? Okay. It's just hard to do, man. You know what I mean? I respect the game, I do. But more so than anything, I respect the style of play. And just our style of play in the era I grew up in, man. Without seeing the eras before them, But seeing this era, I'm taking my era all day long. All day long. Because see, here's another thing. If you're watching the documentary, when they show clips of games within the documentary, one thing you see the Bulls doing, and any other team that they show in the documentary too, West or East, they playing defense. Now they're picking you up full court. Where they do that at in today, BA? Where they do that at? Matter of fact, find me a team, even a team that don't want.
Actually, they don't. They don't. Do they play defense?
Come on, come on, man. Come on, man. We don't need to go down this road. We don't need to go down this road. But everybody wanna pop their collar though. You don't get to sit at the table with me, man. And you ain't had to go through that. See what I'm saying? I'm the reason why you got it easier today. See what I'm saying? But then you're gonna disrespect my era? Gonna act like my era was chopped. When I heard the dude say that, man, like, and again, I'm gonna mention this on right quick because we still got a few more minutes. I'm gonna mention this right quick. A guy said to me, and bear with me because I want to read his exact quote. So bear with me while I pull this up. Just bear with me.
While he's pulling that up, I do want to point out, Brother Rich, that if you notice during the Cowboys draft,
all right, here we go.
The on Jerry's yacht, the kettle was present.
The kettle.
Fact.
Here we go.
Fact.
A guy said to me, the killer instinct gene was developed in 1991. So anyone that played before that didn't have one. My response was, how bass accurate can you get? I'm not talking the water cooler basketball with none of y'all no more. For all of, I'm not doing it. What's see, now my intelligence is taking a hit if I sit there and waste time going back and forth with you when you coming out your mouth with stuff like that. But unfortunately, it's too many. It's a whole lot of folk that think like this guy. The killer instinct gene was developed in 1991, so anyone that played before that didn't have one. Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. It's a soft couch over there. Matter of fact, it's in Dr. Kevorkian's office. Have a seat on it. Now, how'd that grab you, Double J? I'm trying to tell you. Come on, man. Come on. We really going back and forth with people who think like that, man? Exactly. That's what I should have did. What'd you say?
Again, these are for arguably. I don't think I'm going too far off on a limb to say that individual was born north of 1992.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unbelievable.
But see, it's not enough to say that you think you're. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
No. Definitely finish your point because I think we're heading the same direction.
Yeah,
here.
It's. If you want to say you like this guy and you like that guy, all right, that's fine. But when you're gonna say about my era, it wasn't nothing but plumbers and janitors. Run that. You want to run that by me again? Hold up, young fella. I'm tying my shoes up. We about to get down here today. Plumbers and janitors.
But how were they plumbers and janitors when the greatest 50 of all time was during that era, and most of the players were of that era? That's when Dominique Wilkins played. That's when Patrick Ewing played. That's when Isaiah Thomas played. That's when Irvin Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale,
and Andrew Toney,
Mark Aguirre. Come on, man. That's when Doc Rivers played. What are we talking about here?
Oh, and did we mention Roy Tarpley? Oh, okay.
Come on, man. That's when they played.
Yeah, come on, man. That again, this is what I mean. How do you come out of your mouth and say something or make a statement and don't expect me to ask you what you basing it on? You're a walking contradiction. You don't even understand what you're really saying. You don't even understand what you're saying. that era was plumbers and janitors. But to your point, Brother Rich, them same era you saying is plumbers and janitors, but on the flip side, you want to talk about who the greatest 50 are in the air. Man, go. All right. You giving me a migraine. You giving me a pippin. You know what I'm saying, pimping? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Yeah. Go ahead, Double J. What were you going to say? Go ahead, close us out, man. Let's go and get up out of here. What were you going to say?
The disrespect amongst the eras is
disrespectful.
That needs to perish. And here's the thing: if you listen to the great late Kobe Bryant, he points out that Mike watched Magic, you watched Dr. J, and you'll see elements of that in his game, and of course we know who Mike's favorite player was that many don't know. If you look at Kobe, you'll see elements of Mike. If you look at LeBron, you'll see a small piece of Kobe. But because of that fundamental change indicates that each genre and era had quality and greatness. So to discredit one and to completely write one off is completely disrespectful of not only those previous generations, but to the present, to the same one that they claim to be the greatest of them all. Because remember, when you're on the top of that mountain, sitting on that throne, you're still sitting on your behind.
Yep. I don't understand it either, man. But this was, as always, fellas, good stuff. Great stuff, actually. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network. You go to Spreaker, of course. Hit that search box and you type in the Shot Report. And while you're there, please subscribe. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and give us a follow. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. If you want to drop us a line, a comment, or a suggestion, hit us up via email to shotreport365@gmail.com. And if that don't work, Google it. For my man's Be Rich, Double J, and all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. I'm Barbershop J, and remember, the next time you want to know what's going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.
MJ didn't complain the league so much. Today's league wouldn't be so soft. But